What happens when a couple of friends deep dive into silly Star Wars thoughts and questions you never knew you needed answered?
Do you think that Shmi and Qui-Gon did the Funky Town dance?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah. 100% that was her being like, come on, let's go to bed, you know?
She was coming to invite us.
Yeah.
Join us for some casual conversation on the Cantina Chat podcast featuring Jordan and Sean.
Thanks for joining us back in to another episode of the Cantina Chat podcast. Got a good one today. We're going to be, of course, reviewing, getting our first impressions of this episode here, the last one, the finale of the Acolyte. So pretty good one so far.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And then, of course, we're going to be doing a return of a game. The first time we're going to be repeating Empire Strikes Back. So it's a cool trivia game. And then we're closing out the show with a draft.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll turn it over to you now that we just got finished with the finale. What are your initial impressions, Mr. Jordan?
It was good. Definitely the finale that I hoped for.
Yeah.
They didn't leave us on a ridiculous hanger. It actually ended it in a good spot.
True.
You know, that was one thing we talked about last week, was the fact of, you know, like a lot of shows will do that. They'll leave you on a really bad cliffhanger and then possibly not come back for another season, or it takes 2 years to get another season, so on and so forth. So the whole time you're like, well, like, how long do we have to wait for this? This one, thankfully, they didn't. They ended it at a good spot. It was
right.
Chimere and Osha side by side, staring off into the distance of this planet, and it wasn't, you know, we had the answers given to us for what we were wondering, you know, as of last episode.
Right. All our mysteries, for the most part, got
yeah.
solved.
Right.
Now, they did introduce quite a few new stuff in this that we'll have to get into that I think is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I have so many questions about Chimere at this point.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest spot in this area of the show. I mean, there's definitely season 2 is how this is intended.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that ended is sort of a good finale for the end here, but also it left so much in the air that we have to have more. I do think one of the bigger topics that we had before was I wasn't really sure personally until this episode whether or not this show could have substance outside of the main 4 Jedi who were involved in this piece on Brendok 16 years ago. Once they were gone, I'm like, is this show even going to be possible anymore? Is it going to be good? I think it is. I think there's enough there that they could definitely do a lot.
Well, we have now, with the ending of this and the way that it ended, you had Vanestra talking to May, who has had her memory erased.
Right.
Talking to her, saying, I need your help. You need to help me find somebody.
Yeah.
Talking about Chimere being her old pupil.
So we definitely got a confirmation that those scars on his back were from the whip, most likely, like we thought. He's definitely was her apprentice.
Right. And with her asking May to do this, May's, like I said, her memory's been wiped. She doesn't have anything. She doesn't remember herself having a sister, so on and so forth. But when Revan, which I know it doesn't matter, but Revan had his memory wiped when he went from Jedi to Sith back to the Jedi. The Jedi altered his memory.
They were the ones who did it to
him. But
he
started having flashbacks.
Yeah.
Years later going down the road when he was doing another one of his missions.
Right.
So it's like, well, maybe that's going to happen. Or maybe the Jedi can somehow reverse this memory wipe, something like that. So it's not impossible for her to be able to reclaim bits of her memory, whether it's herself doing it from things that she sees and she's just getting these random little clicks in her head, or the Jedi have some sort of altering thing that they can do to kind of, like I said, reverse that effect.
I have a feeling that the show's going to have them almost doing that on their own, having her do that on her own, because they're starting to show us a bit about them being this virgins in the Force, that they are both way more powerful than we thought, or that they themselves have thought. That they are manifestations of the Force. They are crazy powerful, and we just haven't gotten to experience that really yet, as they've been non-trained and held back and all this. But I think the few times where we did see an explosion has kind of indicated that. So it makes sense to me that her own internal Force powers are going to kind of push out what the guy did to erase her using the Force, erasing her memories. So it makes sense. I think that the next season could definitely be her and Vanestra hunting down
Chimere and Osha.
Yeah.
Well, another thing is Sol told May, you and Osha are not twins. You are the same person.
Yeah.
So it's that could be what helps her get her memory back in some weird way, is that if they are sharing the same, which 2 episodes ago, 3 episodes. I think it was episode 3 or episode 4. I don't remember. Anyway, when they were looking at the midichlorian count, the midichlorian counts were at the exact same level. There was no difference.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, so that shows now, like what Soul said, with them being one person. Maybe that could be a way that it's somehow going to be like sparking up the memory, or she's going to get like kind of like the Rey and Kylo thing, where they saw each other's surroundings in a way.
Right.
They might try to throw that in there, and while they're traveling, May sees like these random sparks of Kymir teaching Osha, and it's going that, you know what I mean. That's going to be like, then Osha's going, or May's going to be like, oh, well, I remembered something weird about this planet, you know, and then go from there. So.
Right. Yeah, I think. Well, I guess first let's talk about the huge reveal, right? The biggest reveal in my eyes in the
Yoda,
whole
right?
episode. Adult Grogu shows up at the very end. Can you believe it?
It's crazy, dude. 132 years prior to Phantom Menace, and we already get a grown Grogu. He's a time traveler.
It's wild.
Weird.
I had no idea.
No, but no, I know what you're talking about.
your boy, right?
Darth Plagueis. Hopefully,
Darth
that's what
Plagueis.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty wild. But he's on that same planet that is only been said in this show as unknown planet.
Yep.
We're not certain if that's Octo or what it is. A lot of the visual keys to it kind of look like Octo, but there's a lot of reasons to think it's not. So I'm not really sure. But it lends more credence in my mind that it is, if this is where Plagueis is. Since Octo, when we see it in the movies way later, it's got that pit with the dark side, and it was the like one of the original temples or whatever, and all this stuff. I think it has significance to the dark side as well as the light side. So I think it could be.
Well,
it would be
was
interesting.
much more ominous looking as well, like with the whole dark side pit.
Yeah.
Like Dagobah had that.
Yeah.
You went to Dagobah. He went into the, what was it, just like the little drop-in cave.
Yeah.
It was dark. It was gross. You know, all this stuff. But the one on Octo really looked
evil.
Like super evil. It was just a super dark hole with like black vines that were like creeping inside it, and like you heard these noises coming out of it. So it's like it would make sense. And for Darth Plagueis to be there, it would make sense in a way for that to be that.
Right.
Unless, you know, Plagueis is just, you know, keeping up on whether if they're going to try to make Kymir his somewhat of an apprentice, or if, you know, like I said before, it's possible that Plagueis is, you know, if Kymir is not his apprentice and Plagueis is going around and either trying to kill the rest of the Sith, that could be like
challenge to
remedying,
him maybe,
right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, like at this time period, you know, assuming it should be the power of two.
Yeah.
So it could be like him going around and stopping his people who might be able to rival him down the road, or could do it now. It's hard to tell because all we've seen is him creep around a rock, you know.
Yeah.
But
the fact that they went ahead and did that, it tells us quite a few things that we didn't know before. There's been a lot of fan theories that maybe Kymir actually is Plagueis.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we didn't go that route personally. I have pulled almost a full 180 on the character of Kymir. When we first started, we were discussing like, are they really going to make him the Sith Lord because it's so obvious that this like random apothecary guy, the alchemist guy or whatever, like it's too obvious. They're not going to do that, and blah blah blah. And then they made him the Sith guy, and man, I don't like that either. The longer it's gone on though, and it's had the chance for the story to evolve, I like the character Kymir quite a lot.
I do too. You see him for who he actually is.
Yeah.
He's a much more gentle going Sith.
He's
than what we've seen.
Really complicated.
You know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's weird to see.
I think one of the things that I'm still the most curious about is his role in all this, because, like you said, it could be that he is currently the apprentice, and he's looking for somebody to help him overpower Plagueis. But I don't personally think that's what we're doing.
I don't think so either.
I think it's a little different, and I think that it is going to turn into he's not really a Sith. I think he's working for Plagueis, absolutely. I think he might be trying to find Plagueis an Acolyte, potentially. I don't know, but I think that phrase
it would just
when
be
he
weird
said,
for Plagueis to have Kymir, who is obviously powerful, to be trying to find
somebody else for him.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that's what makes me wonder if that's why, if Plagueis is just trying to eliminate because he's creeping. He's not made an appearance at all. He's not doing anything.
Right.
And Chimera's not made his master. He's not mentioned his master. I don't think
he 100% would have had to have known somebody that powerful was on that island.
Are we talking about Plagueis or
Chimera? It's not like Plagueis' appearance.
I mean, we saw Palpatine mask his dark side for years.
I suppose.
Being in the heart of the Jedi, being around the Jedi, the strongest Jedi. He was around, Grandmaster Yoda for ever, and nobody ever suspected it, never sensed it. And his master was Plagueis. And so it's like
maybe he learned how to mask his own presence and that sort of thing.
Right, you know what I mean? Maybe Plagueis taught him how to do these certain things.
Maybe.
And we talked about this too, which you have legends and all this stuff. But like Plagueis, he was with Palpatine when he got elected to Chancellor, I think.
Right.
And then Palpatine killed him that night. So I don't know.
I'm assuming
it's
now that Plagueis is older than he would have been in the book.
He initially would have been, correct.
So that book being
Legends, that book is Legends anyway.
Right. So now that we're going to have to kind of stretch some of those things, it's cool that he's now here. It means he's older than we thought.
We've always wanted to see something of Plagueis on screen since episode 3.
His appearance is phenomenal.
It looks great.
It looked really great.
They did really good about making his face look just like the book.
Yeah.
They didn't change anything ridiculous, which I'm very thankful for, because if you're going to bring somebody who is powerful and who was the master of the Dark Lord who destroyed the Jedi, you know what I mean? Keep him how he is. So I'm very happy that they did that.
Sure.
I don't know, but that's my thinking, is that if Chimera is not Plagueis' Padawan at this current time, which is 132 years prior to the Phantom Menace,
100, yeah,
or 100 years, 132, or is it
132 BBY?
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Yeah. So 100 years prior. Like I said, if Chimera is not his apprentice,
right?
Whatever, because if it's going to semi-follow the book, Tenebrous would be Plagueis' master,
right?
Which that once again, Legends,
right? We don't know what
we don't know
stretching,
what
what
time
changing,
period, how they've stretched the time, because Tenebrous was killed. What was it? 60? Was it 60-something years? Is what I said.
I think so.
Before the Battle of Yavin or something like that. It was not long
Plagueis.
before.
Right.
Plagueis killed Tenebrous.
Right.
Not long before he ended up finding Palpatine. But so we don't. I don't know how they're stretching canon now.
Right.
How they're going to stretch that time here. You know what I mean? So it's does Plagueis have a master? Is he out? If Tenebrous is his master and he's still alive at this time, is he out trying to find his Padawan that he wants to try to overthrow, his master for?
It seems like they've set up the intention of all these questions to be the season 2 bit of what's Plagueis' role, what's going on. Obviously, we know Plagueis the most from the story from Palpatine to Anakin of he was so powerful he could manipulate the midichlorians to create life.
Right.
We now have on this planet of focus, Brendok, a Virgins in the Force, where life was literally created through the Force to create these
twins.
Not quite twins. They're sort of clones, but they're Force clones. They're not human clones.
Right.
So it's a really weird scenario, but it is interesting because it screams Plagueis. It's got Plagueis all over it.
Yeah.
So that means how the Dark Witches were involved with Plagueis potentially. Maybe he taught them. We don't really know all these details, but how involved Chimera is with them and the age he is doesn't appear, like we talked about that already. There's so many weird things about that. But like when he was playing the role of the alchemist guy, he's the one who gave May the poison from that Brendok tree, the special tree, the Bunta tree. And why did Chimera have that? He was aware of that planet prior to him ever going to that planet.
Basically, it's like somebody had to give him a push.
There?
Right.
What? There's so many questions about Chimera that are so strange to me.
Well, and maybe too that if it is Plagueis being the mastermind behind all this, doing whatever, if he was the one who created Osha and May, somehow, and not being, which Mother NSA and the Zabrak mother said that Mother NSA was the one who created the girls, and then the Zabrak mother carried them. So then again, it might not be a Plagueis behind the deal. You know what I mean? It might be that they somehow figured out how to do this.
Right.
But it does fetch too close to what Plagueis was trying to do.
Right. And if he was supposed to be this ultimate power that was so strong to be able to do that,
he took Chimera,
it
pushed
lessens
him,
that a lot to say that these other ladies could have done
and
that.
And now it makes me wonder too. Like Mace was like, I waited here at this tree.
Yeah.
Well, who picked her up?
Right.
Chimera would have been too young.
That's so.
But
strange.
I feel like she would remember being like, this guy with no nose, super flat face,
maybe.
came by and picked me up, and then
because we just saw a mind erasing ability that worked in 2 seconds at the end
true.
of this episode.
Yeah.
That Chimera knows how to do, and if he knows how to do it, probably the guy who's training him knows how to do it.
It could be that Plagueis is on the planet with Chimera.
She said she got sucked into that tunnel, and I immediately thought that was a little weird.
Well,
She's
and that's
falling straight down. She got sucked into safety. That was already weird. The 2 girls threw us a curveball at the end there, saying, "Who even taught us this little, chant or whatever about the 2 are 1, the 1 is the 2.
Yeah, no, she was
I
like,
am
I
you
thought
and
you
you
made
are
it
me."
up.
And I'm like, wait, you guys didn't? So that wasn't from their parents. That wasn't from them as a kid. I think Plagueis is involved in this from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And whether or not he's the one who told the witches to go to this place, whether or not he created the virgins, I don't know. We don't know any of those
Promised
details.
them safety.
I think he's heavily involved in this, and I think we're going to get a weird loophole with Chimera where he said to Soul, "I am what you would call a Sith," or "I am what you might call a Sith," instead of just saying, "Yeah, I'm a Sith." And I feel like that's weird. And I feel like that's going to come back, where that's going to be kind of a strange loophole when it comes to the rule of 2.
Right.
He's working for Plagueis, but he might not even be technically like Plagueis's.
Well, you also have a Ventress who wasn't a Sith.
That's what I mean.
She was
he
a
might
Dark
be
Force
a
user.
little
She was
bit
like
more...
a Sith assassin,
Yeah, exactly.
And it could be that that Plagueis has found him, trained him enough, but not enough to
almost
overthrow Plagueis.
Like the role of an Inquisitor.
Right.
He's an enforcer doing what Plagueis wants.
Not strong enough to overthrow, but strong enough to keep their hand in a fight.
So very interesting, but Chimera is so full of questions to me that I don't have a clue what we're doing.
I agree.
He seemed like he wasn't that interested in the whole deal about these girls being created from the Force either. So that's
as Soul
such
was
a
going
weird
through
thing.
and talking about it, he was in the back and he was like,
right.
Huh.
I think he showed a reaction almost to me to say like, "Oh, you know that?"
Yeah.
Not like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Like I thought that was strange, and I don't know. I think that part is interesting. I'm way more curious at this stage about what happens to him.
Well, we had so many questions about Chimera and what he was doing, where he was, who he was, and unfortunately, through the first season, we didn't really get a lot of answers on him.
Yeah.
And I understand that we needed to focus on May and Osha because this is their story.
Right.
I get that. But at the same time, it's like you throw in the stranger, is what they call him, is the stranger.
The stranger, yeah.
You're going to throw him in, and here we are, still blind. Like, we have no idea the motives. We don't know who's behind it truly. But then we see Plagueis, and now with everything we know about Plagueis, it's like, oh, he's got to be the one behind it.
Right.
More than likely, they're going to tie it in for him to be something over top of Chimera, which we've obviously just discussed.
But if that's the case, it puts even more doubt as to what is Chimera doing.
Now,
what is his place in all this?
Another thing is, if we saw Plagueis now, I'm sure we're going to see him in season 2 somewhere.
That's the pull, yeah.
So, takes us back to Phantom Menace, when the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. But yet we have Chimera, who now Venestra knows, and I guess she's the only one that really knows now.
She's the only one that knows.
Besides May and Osha,
I
because
think
Soul
she's
died,
about to tell
Endara died,
Yoda
everybody died.
at the end of this.
I'm hoping.
That's that. But
then
these
you
are
have
2
Yoda.
people who have already previously shown examples of lying to the council, lying
That's
to
true.
the Senate on purpose to hide things. And Vernestra has a former pupil
who is a Sith,
who she thinks she killed because he's got
the mark
scars
on his
from
back.
her.
Yeah.
And she just that he built that sensory helmet 100% for her.
As soon as
because
she
he
knew
didn't
he was
wear
there,
it, and he was like, "Oh no, she
Yeah.
caught me." And she
she
said,
used
"Wait,
the Force
he's alive?"
I guess to sense who it was. And as soon as he felt that, he put his helmet on and ran.
It was too late because she had already figured out he
You.
was there.
Yeah.
And she said, "Wait, he's alive?" So she left him for dead somewhere after fighting him. But the point is, she's hiding the fact that there are rogue Jedi. That in her mind, that's what he is.
And that's another thing.
Not
that
in
we
her
talked
mind
about
that
too,
he's a
was
Sith. He's a former student of hers. He's just a rogue Jedi.
That was her pupil, was
So-
Chimera at some point in time.
It is weird.
It's definitely, and for me, it's a lot. And speaking of hiding things, watching Venestra literally lie through this entire season about everything that's going on. And here we are at the last episode. Soul gets killed by Osha. Osha force chokes him. He falls. Venestra comes, sees him, and is like upset, sad that he is now gone. Sitting there explaining to May, hey, you know, he was a good man. He just tried to do the right thing, but he made a mistake. Ate him up, blah, 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 blah. But he was my dear friend. Goes into the Senate and says, there was a rogue Jedi named Soul who murdered all these Jedi. People. Right. And
my
it's like,
friend.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Like, you're going to throw this dead Jedi who should be, in my opinion,
honored,
sent off just like every other Jedi Master
she
who's
did,
fallen.
But privately.
What
a jerk,
But through
man.
his name. I mean, in the archive, what you brought up too, this is what you said was, in the archive, his name is going to be Rogue Jedi Killer.
Yeah, he's a murderer who killed his fellow...
which isn't even close, which we all know by watching it.
That's
and everything
bonkers,
like that.
man.
He did everything he could to try to save people, did the right thing, and felt horrible when he couldn't save people.
What it does
But
do,
now
though,
it literally turns him into being this POS
monster.
bad guy.
She turned him into a
just
monster.
to make her look like she didn't lose her footing.
Yes, but it also
And
reinforced the fact that this is the kind of person who is absolutely going to lie and hide the existence of the Sith. So it makes a little bit more sense
Of
as
why
to that
later.
being later.
Yeah. I agree.
These
that's
stubborn, yeah. And again, like Mother Anastasia said, this kind of stuff is the reason why the Jedi Order is going to fall, and she's right. You know, later
That's exactly
on.
right.
Now,
it is weird to me that she saw that. Real quick, how she said that to Soul. It's like she saw the future. But then again, it's like you don't really have to see the future to see
she just might
the
have
arrogance of people to see how arrogant they're going to be. And like if they're so bad now, what's going to happen in 20, 30, 100 years, 200 years? Like it's just going to continually get worse. If you
just needed a little bit of intuition to be able to read the situation from not being one of them, being a little bit detached, looking at that and being like, you guys, you're so full of hubris and your good intentions keep getting in the way of all this stuff that you guys are, that's going to be your downfall.
Yeah.
And she's 100% right.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But I think Mother Anastasia is, like, as little as she was in the show, she was a really, really cool character for a bunch of reasons.
Oh, I agree.
I like her a lot. But I figured, go ahead, what were you going to say?
I wanted to, we're talking about how strong she was.
Yeah.
Going to the very beginning of the episode.
Of this episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the very beginning of the episode, the Acolyte. So we had the Acolyte episode in the Acolyte series, which is cool.
The finale is called,
So anyway, so going to the very beginning of the episode, where we see now Osha still having the helmet on,
right?
And Chimere going up to her, you know, he like laughs because she's in the helmet, and he's like, you know,
right?
She's messing around.
He's like, oh, look
and
at
as soon as like he gives off that little chuckle, she's like, and goes into like this weird, kind of like a weird trance thing, but it's like she's getting choked is what it sounded like. Something's happening. And so then he immediately goes into that witch trance, which Anastasia put on Torben and the witches put on Kilnaka.
Right.
So we see him go into that, but he pulls himself out of it.
Right.
Like he knows what's happening. He goes into it, and he, as soon as he does it, you hear him. He's like, no, you know, like he knows that he's now
right.
being possessed, I guess, you know, and he reaches up and like, I don't know if he could see Osha in his trance state. I'm assuming probably because she should be the one who put him in that. I mean,
right.
She's the only one that we've seen, or well, her people are the only ones that we've seen be able to do this. And, you know, so I'm assuming that she's probably there in the trance with him, but he's reaching up and he grabs the helmet and he gives it that last thing. As soon as he pulls the helmet off, both of them are like, oh,
right.
And they're okay. But watching that happen, and seeing that she can do that unwillingly, is insane.
Well, again, she's potentially got the force capabilities of somebody on par with Anakin.
Yeah,
we think.
If
her incount is that crazy high, and she's created from the force,
which we didn't get a number, by the way.
No.
So,
but it does sound like she's supposed to have been created like this. Like she might be stupid high.
Yeah.
And she's. What he said was just like that force cave on Dagobah you mentioned earlier. What you put in that, what happens when you go in that sensory deprivation helmet, the only thing is what you take with you.
Yeah.
And so she kind of did that to herself, I think, and she was losing control of herself in that moment.
More than likely, it was like a weird burst of power.
Yeah. And so
she saw the future.
She absolutely was using the force, and she was able to see further in the future. Yeah. it was the first time she was able to meditate without distraction that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And her force powers just skyrocketed. And yeah, so she's got the potential to be insanely strong. Both of them do.
Well, that's what Chimera said. That's what Chimera told her.
Yeah.
Or yeah, at the end of the episode.
But I'm wondering if the whole point of this whole thing is like, it's almost like Plagueis needs the two of them to come together so that he can somehow inhabit their bodies to continue living. I don't know, but there's something still going on with that.
Or he's just literally trying to, like, this is like a fail of what happened to Anakin later. If we have Plagueis now,
right,
which this whole episode has now became mostly a Plagueis look.
It's true.
It's a big thing.
It changes
it's a big thing.
lot. Yeah.
But that's something that I was thinking too, was that if it is Plagueis who created the girls, just like Anakin was created, if he manipulated the Force enough to do the same thing, that May and Osha are a failure trial, in a way, of what happened with Anakin. If it's the same, if they're making it the exact same thing,
right?
That's my thinking of why they did this,
right?
Is because he's
still learning.
He learned how to do it, or he learned the way to do it, and is attempting. And something happens. Ocean may die. They don't work. They don't truly go to the dark side. Something happens, and then they die. And then
he has to look for another
100
way.
years later,
he keeps perfecting.
90 years later, he's like
eventually creates Anakin.
Yes.
Sure, that's definitely a pretty strong possibility. We might not get that answered in this show.
I doubt it.
Even in a season 2. Yeah. But it's an interesting theory for sure that is definitely feasible for sure. I think just like knee-jerk reaction immediately after watching the episode, I think this might have been my favorite episode. It was so jam-packed full of
so many times.
I know, but the last several have been getting progressively better. But this one was so jam-packed full of action. There were a bunch of moments that were like, ooh, I like this, I like this. One of my all-time favorites spots was something we've never gotten to see in canon before. Something this show has started to keep doing for me is showing us stuff that we've known about but we didn't get to see. So I'm liking that trend. But the bleeding of Soul's crystal, when she turned it red in her arms as she was becoming angry because the truth was revealed that he's the one who killed your mother. He thought he was doing it for the right reasons. Intentions don't matter. He killed my mom. I'm going to kill this guy. Stop talking. And she starts choking him. She's holding the saber. She's holding the crystal. You see the crystal start to turn red. We've never seen that on screen of like bleeding a crystal. Yeah. That is such a cool thing to be able to get to see.
And I'd like to point out that you called it. As she was holding the lightsaber, you said, she's going to bleed the crystal. And it was like 15 seconds later, it starts to bleed, and you were like, oh.
I've thought forever that idea is so cool to me, and just getting to see it on screen was amazing. And the way they artistically showed the saber itself ignited afterwards, it's one of my favorite things I think I've ever seen.
It was like the lightsaber was
showed
confused.
Up blue, and then it just, the beam of the saber, unsteady, continued rising with the red in like half and half until the whole thing engulfed red. Oh man,
it looked really good.
What a cool!
I thought it was a good way to interpret it, and to show that, in which we always known that it was hate and anger that bled a crystal.
Yeah,
that's how Sith bled crystals.
In that moment,
and they kept it that way, like it was in the anger. It was her using the dark side, going to the dark side, and and it just filled it with hate. And it's like that's really, I am really glad that we did see that. I thought that was really cool.
It does make me feel a little bit weird when you go back to certain scenes of like, that means Anakin didn't have that much hate when he was slaughtering younglings in the temple.
Well, the crystal also was not exposed to him.
Yeah, that's true.
The crystal was broken through the hilt.
Yeah, that's a really good point. She was actually touching physically the crystal.
Right. I think you have to, like, you either take the lightsaber apart from like the illustration and stuff that we've seen. They take the lightsaber hilt apart and they grab the crystal, or they focus it on it, and that's how they bleed them.
You're right.
So Anakin never exposed his crystal because it happened in
all in one succession, like
one time period,
moment,
just like hours, and that's his hatred filled. and then later we see, he gets a crystal and turns it red, whatever it is red, whatever happens.
Right.
So that's my thing of why it didn't turn red when Anakin had it, because he did not have direct contact, and plus he wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, you have Sith who, will disassemble their lightsaber and then focus on turning it. Where Anakin's like, I have a job to do, and I have to be done in like 12 hours. I have to wipe out all the Jedi real quick. I don't have time to be able to focus.
His was also like a unique situation too, where it wasn't necessarily anger and hatred. Like, he was doing it misled, but
Also
like he was doing it for love. He was more afraid of losing the one he loved more than anything else. So his was attachment was his greatest downfall, but it wasn't like, I'm angry in this exact moment.
No, because like when he chopped off Mace's hand, he felt horrible. He dropped to his knees. What have I done?
Yeah.
He
did regret his actions.
He didn't
while
like
he was doing them.
Right. But you're right. It was attachment that made him do it. It wasn't that he was mad at the Jedi Order.
So definitely a different.
Which, granted, he was mad at the Jedi because he wasn't a master.
Yeah.
He was on the council, whatever.
But the whole reason he did what he did was for Padme. Whereas in this case, she did this. It was a pure vengeance situation. It was an outburst of emotion, anger, hatred. So
and
it
she
felt
revealed
way
that
more.
to May.
Yeah.
Because remember when they were in the
Fighting
their
hand
old
to hand?
bedroom? Yes.
Screaming, dude.
Oh yeah.
She's
but she was like,
and
the reason I'm not a Jedi is because of my hatred towards you.
Yeah.
She could not control it, and then they started fighting. Then she screamed real loud, and you were like, "Well, that's a real Sith thing to do," So she revealed that, and it's like when she did that, I was like, "Okay, yeah, we definitely know who's going to be the bad guy."
Right.
And now that May's memory's wiped, I don't think she's going to be the bad guy at all.
No.
I think it's going to be a weird turn point of where we thought last couple episodes ago where they got flipped around. We're like, okay, so Osha's, which we did call it. We said, well, it looks like Osha is now going to be possibly a flipperoo on the villain and the good guy. And we actually now have that,
right?
Because May has no idea what's happening. Osha's with Chimere getting ready, and she has accepted the idea of training to be a Sith or to be a dark side user, and she killed Sol, who was her master. That follows the Sith, everything about the Sith. The Jedi who turned Sith, they usually kill their master or something, and then attempt to.
I guess probably to close this out, it's probably a pretty decent stopping spot based on time, but I know we've got more to talk about later, but I did think that last thought that you just had gave me a good one more final closing point of somewhat of a mystery in the beginning portions of this show when we were watching was killing one of the Jedi without a weapon and understanding, I guess, fully what that meant or how you might do that. And here we've got her force choking Sol to death. She sure killed him without a weapon, didn't she? So
she did. She fulfilled the Acolyte training.
Yeah, she did that way quicker than May, after May tried and tried and tried.
Well, May wanted to take Sol and give him to the Senate.
Yeah.
And say he needs to be punished for his crimes.
Right.
And May's like, or Osha's like, no, he's going to die. This is how he's going to pay, is by death. And what a weird flip to see.
Interesting twist.
But once again, you need it to be able to show that is why Osha fell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, what a great point.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we'll take a quick pause there, and then we can jump over when we come back to one of our games.
Sure.
All right, welcome back into the next section here. We're going to be redoing one of our games. We're going to be revisiting
fun game.
A good trivia one. We call this one Empire Strikes Facts. This is the one that is not at all like Jeopardy. Okay?
Not even remotely close.
Very legally distinct.
So we're going to turn right over to our Force Ghost on the Coast, Miss Savannah. She's going to help us.
Welcome back, by the way.
Yay! Back, baby!
Wonderful.
Yes. Glad to be here. We have Empire Strikes Facts. We've made the board a little bit smaller than we did the first time to hopefully make it a little more manageable to actually visit all the options. So we have 5 categories. We've got famous females, Mandalorian clans, languages, Jedi temples, and wild card. So go ahead and roll your dice. We'll see who gets to pick a category first.
Do you want to roll? You roll this time.
No.
I always roll.
Fine,
You roll. Call your color.
I'm red.
Okay.
So if I go first, it'll be red.
Okay.
I said that backwards.
No, I'll go red. No,
That was my best. That was my best.
I was gonna win
Yoda
either way. I
impression.
think. Okay.
I got blue.
And I got blue. All right, let's get it.
All right. So yes, what category and credit amount would you like?
Let's go famous females for 100.
It's weird. There's not 4 famous females in Star Wars, though.
Born in 46 BBY, she was raised by her parents, Rui Naberi, and his wife, Jabal. She was a political idealist who advocated for the preservation of democracy as well as a peaceful resolution to the Clone Wars.
Oh, I completely forgot her name. Senator Chuchi.
No.
Oh, wait, no, that's not right. Senator Resolution. My bad, I'm a little bit tarded.
Go ahead, Sean.
I think this is just Chopper's still going way after I buzzed in.
It's exactly who you're gonna say, I think.
I think it's just stinking Padme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the relief for clone veterans.
Oh yeah,
so my
yeah,
mind
yeah.
immediately went there.
Yeah, close. I thought you probably would know the name Naberi. Technically, her name is, I guess, Padme Naberi.
Amidala.
Whatever. I mean,
her. It's a weird story actually. I think she takes like the mother's last name or something like that.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's why she is. Or it's a queen's title. No, it's not a queen's title. I think she takes the mother's last name.
I don't know. There's something like that.
That's
but
why her name is.
I feel
Amidala.
really dumb.
This is like a not well known
fact
thing that her.
Oh, maybe I don't
is.
feel that dumb.
Mm-hmm. No, and there's a deleted scene in the DVD set.
Like when they go to their house or whatever.
I think when she's a senator, not from Phantom Menace, but
Episode
later. 2. And you meet these two.
Yeah.
She's talking to the two of them.
Yeah, because her sister was like, Padme never brings her boyfriend over or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's when they're laying low or something. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's
Good
the
job,
only
dude.
reason I remember that is slightly.
Oh my god.
Oh, middle finger?
Well,
Wow.
it's my longest.
Okay.
Still not that long.
So Sean, since you got that right.
Average.
Oh, I get to go again?
Yes.
I'm a little worried that there's 4 Mandalorian clans. So, languages, Jedi Temple. This is going to be tough. I'm going to do Jedi Temples for 100, please.
All right. This was the first Jedi temple established around 25,000 BBY and was one of the few temples that was not demolished by the Galactic Empire. Go ahead, Sean.
I'm not sure how this is structured, so I'm just going to say the temple on Ahch-To.
Yeah, you're right.
Makes sense because that one was still standing.
We think that it's the first Jedi temple.
That's what we know via movies.
What Luke
Yeah.
said.
Mm.
Why he was missing, because he went to go find the first Jedi temple.
Awesome. Good job.
You're going to beat me this time.
Sean again? Well, he's
Oh.
only picking the 100. So
No, I picked the first 100, but he's already beat me by 200 points.
Let's just see what languages is like. This is going to be tough. Languages for 100?
This language was spoken by a slug-like species and was commonly spoken on planets they controlled. Even with... Oh,
I was
going
to wait till she got done with the reading.
Go ahead.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
I say that's not how Jeopardy is. They interrupt Alex Trebek all the time.
I know, but
well, not anymore.
It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know
Answer
who
your
the
question.
new host is.
Rest in peace, Alex Trebek.
That's not what your mother said last night.
Oh, that's a Will Ferrell reference.
Mm.
This is what is Huttese?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I tried not to make these too hard.
I'm just going to read them as soon as they pull up. I'm not even going to let her speak.
Do it, but you got to
Go
buzz
ahead.
in.
You saved me effort.
I got you.
Save me effort.
Time.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
It's on.
Sean, you get to pick again.
Let's do languages for 250.
This was the language of the Wookiees.
Go
ahead. This is, I think it's called Shriwak or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it looks like Shiri-Wook.
Yeah, I think it's like Shriwak or something.
Yeah. Okay. So good job. That's 250 for you.
You better put them on the table close to you.
Okay.
Well,
so,
that's all the languages I know, so...
You'd be surprised.
Languages for 500.
Okay.
I buzzed in.
This was the native language of the people of Ziost and Korriban. It's also sometimes referred to as the Old Tongue.
I have no idea.
It's a Sith language. What would they speak?
Sith.
Someone should buzz in. Go ahead, Jordan.
Sith.
Yes.
It's just called Sith?
Yeah, it's literally just called Sith. So awesome. You have 500, so you are
already in front of me.
Yeah, it's like 500 to 550.
Oh.
So awesome job. So what would you like next?
Let's go Mandalorian clans for 100.
This clan donned armor with blue, white, and yellow color combinations. They helped Ahsoka take back Mandalore and later survived the Great Purge of Mandalore.
I know it, but I can't think of what they're called.
Yeah, me either.
I'm going to guess. I think they were called... This is Satines. Not Satines.
Sabine.
No.
Oh my...
I always do this.
Same.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's called the Night Owls.
That's not the name of their clan.
Clan Kryze.
Yeah.
Oh, Bo-Katan Kryze.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Kryze. Okay. So good job. There's another 100 points for you, Jordan. I try not, like I said, I try not to make these too hard, especially the 100s. Like, the 100s.
They had yellow in their armor?
Probably. I
They're
remember blue and
primarily
white.
blue, but they've got like white and yellow stripes and stuff. At least that's according
remember
to
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
All right, what would you like next, Jordan?
Let's go wild card 250.
Oh, let's jump it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna confuse myself here in a minute though.
So this was a special deck of cards used for divination via cartomancy.
Divination.
Special deck of cards.
Used for divination. With what?
Via cartomancy, which I don't really know what that word means, to be honest. I'm assuming it's divination via cards. Kind of like, what are those? Not a Ouija board. What's those?
Tarot cards.
Yeah, kind of like that. I'm assuming that's cartomancy.
Wow, I don't have a guess.
I've definitely heard of this before.
In terms
So
of Star Wars?
they use it for like fortune telling. It dates back to the earliest days of the galaxy.
Nah, I don't know.
No. Baccarat.
I have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably have known that, but
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good one.
The wild card one's a little bit hard. These are some
just
that
like really random. That's cool though.
Honestly, I pulled them from the first Empire Strikes facts that we didn't get to. So
Collection
Gotcha.
of things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
okay. So nobody gets that one. So I guess we'll let Jordan pick again.
Fine, let's just do famous females for 250 then.
A native of Chandrila, she signed the Corellian Treaty in 2 BBY. She played an important role in the Galactic Civil War. Go ahead, Sean. Good.
Oh my goodness.
Did you know that if you hold him down, he does the same noise, but for a much longer time? Well, Chopper does.
But R2 doesn't.
That was wild. That was like the biggest burp I've ever heard. Oh, shoot. Native of Chandrila, she signed the Corellian Treaty in 2 BBY. She played an important role in the Galactic Civil War. It's got to be Mon Mothma.
Yes.
Good job.
Awesome job.
I was thinking that, and then I was trying to figure out other women.
I think Chandrila is like the richy goody two shoes place, and they talked about that in Andor. Why she had like Chandrilan jewelry that was golden. And all that.
Right. Okay.
So awesome. All right. Good job, Sean. What would you like next?
Let's run it down since I'm a lot better at knowing females than Jordan because I'm pro female. Let's do famous females for 500.
What are you trying to say?
I've won every one. You haven't done any, so I'm more.
So 500. We
I
had.
know. Are you really not going to even? Are you serious right now?
Go ahead.
Mother trucker, dude. Watch your
Chopper-
mouth,
Chopper's
Chopper.
going
Before I come over,
crazy.
I will jump this table.
He's still going.
I will jump this table. You tell him to shut his mouth.
You tell me.
You tell him.
You tell me. Is that valid or do I need to wait?
No, you can go ahead.
As soon as it popped up, I saw the word
Pantoran.
Pantoran.
Yeah, I was like, you guys have already been talking about this.
Senator Chuchi.
Yes.
What's her planet?
It's right,
Pantora.
it's right there, buddy. Right there.
Okay. Good job. What would you like next, Sean? Since you got that one.
Well, seeing as how... Oh, he needs to give the answer right now to whatever he's
Things are
having
going
it.
pear-shaped.
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 I hate time. Um,
Why would
famous.
you even say that?
No one knows. Famous females for 1,000.
Okay. A long-limbed Palawick, she was a popular singer and dancer whose patrons included Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, we talked about this.
She also worked
We
as a
just
spy
talked
for the
about
Hutt criminal cartels.
We just talked about
this
her.
last
That's
week.
so funny. That
Oh,
is so
really?
Yeah,
Yeah, we were talking about her for a little bit.
because of
You were saying
Max
the-
Rebo.
Oh, I thought you
because
meant when we were off air and you were talking about the girls that you would like to the most. That was this one, right?
Smash.
Ew.
I can see her in my head, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
She has a
same.
fun name.
Yeah, I'm
She
sure
looks like
she
a fun
does.
gal.
I want to say it's
Go ahead.
it's like Riza the Gorgeous.
It is. Is it not something
Nah.
with an R?
No, it's an S and an S.
Sally Spanky.
Spanky.
Snoodles.
Snoodles?
Snoodles.
That's really her name?
Yep.
Yeah, she's the long mouth lip
Yeah,
lady.
with the lipstick on the very
Yeah.
end of the tube.
She like betrayed Zero.
Yeah,
That girl.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
She's out.
that's so funny that one came up.
So
And
she
then
was
you
a little
both
bit
know who it is exactly.
Less famous, but still.
That was a great one.
Okay,
I liked
cool,
it. Good
cool.
job.
All right, so nobody got that one. So I guess we'll go back to Sean, who's the
I
last
think
one who
that
got one
we
correct.
both got that in our hearts.
What? You did. What? Which one would you like?
Let's go with Jedi temples for whatever's
250?
next one. Yeah.
This temple was the site of Luke's new Jedi temple, where he began training the next generation of Jedi.
I don't remember its name.
Nope. But this was where he was building in when we saw him again in Boba Fett.
It was the robots were helping him build it.
The little ant
it's
robots.
the one where Kylo burned a.
Honestly,
thing
I got
down.
this from Screen Rant. I not Wikipedia, and I couldn't really confirm this on Wikipedia, so I'm hoping Screen Rant was correct, and what they called it. But
I don't think we have a guess, so
No.
that's all right.
no, Ossus.
Sounds
I don't
kind
know
of
if that
familiar.
rings a bell. Ossus Jedi Temple. Okay, no worries. What
You're
would you
really
like
trying to
next?
win this one, aren't you?
He's always trying to win, Jordan.
No, like he's really putting in the bucks.
What are you talking about?
Because you're smacking it before she reads. Last time you told
I
me
know, yeah, I
to
know.
wait until things got done. And so then I wait on this one. You're like,
Well,
"Oh."
you didn't last time.
Well, yeah, now you're not. I'm trying to. I'm listening to your advice.
All right.
To your advice.
Calm down with me.
I'm getting angry over here.
I love it when you get competitive. Let's do languages for 1,000.
Okay.
It's just
On the eve of the mission to raid the local Imperial garrison, Cassian Andor was urged to learn a few phrases in this language from a datapad supplied by Terramin Barcona. You're gonna kick yourself because I like this was very familiar to me. This word, this language. It might have even been the name of the planet that they were on as well.
Probably was. But I don't remember who the people were. They called them that so many times in the show.
Mm-hmm.
They were like,
Yeah, like this word was in the show a lot.
I'm going to pass.
same.
Aldani.
Sounds familiar. I'm sure that's
Yeah.
what it was, yeah.
Okay. No worries. All right, so we are back to our board. We'll still kick it to Sean to pick. You've got a couple Jedi temples, 3 Mandalorian clans, and then 4 in the wild card.
Let's do temples for 500.
Okay. This ancient temple was located on the planet Tython and was in ruins when we saw it on screen. Its main attraction was the Seeing Stone at the center of its towers.
Shoot, it's not what I thought it was.
I'm gonna have to pass again.
This one has kind of a funny name. Like I
Is
don't
this
know
where
if the
is this
fans
the
named
Grogu?
it
Is this where Grogu was sitting on the thing when they summoned Luke?
Yes.
I don't know that this had
I
a
don't
name.
know it. Yeah, no, I have no idea.
It's called Forcehenge. So you
Oh,
think
it's
of like
a hinge
Stonehenge,
stone,
like it's that is what it's called on Wikipedia. Like I was kind of surprised. It sounds like a fan
Interesting.
made up that name.
Yeah,
but-
I hadn't heard it before, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Kick it back to Sean again. What
Let's close out the temples.
Okay, we got temples for
The next one's just going to be
1,000.
Big Rock.
So this ancient temple survived the Galactic Empire and became a place where Jedi Masters would take their Padawans to determine their readiness to become a Jedi. Built into a natural stone spire and the caverns that sprawled out beneath it, the temple was commissioned by the Jedi due to the virgins found at the site. Go ahead.
A lot of the reading of this sounds kind of strange to me, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say the temple at Lothal Temple.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
where the
you're right.
father,
Stone
the son.
spire, and when they used the Force, it moved out of the
No,
ground.
I'm definitely not thinking about the same one.
Ezra's
I know what you're
home
talking
planet.
about, yeah. I was thinking about the one where it was you had the father, the son, and the daughter.
Mortis's thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about.
Awesome job. Yeah.
We were in the same time period, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that works.
Right there, yeah.
All right. So great job, Sean.
What was
you
it
still
called?
get to pick.
Lothal, it was just the name of the planet. It was
It's just called the Lothal Jedi
all the
Temple.
temples that I know of, it's just the name of the planet. Which is why that one was funny in the Acolyte show. They just called it the local temple.
Sure.
You're like, wait, what?
Sure. The Coruscant Jedi Temple.
Right.
Yeah. So we have 3 more Mandalorian clans, and then we've got the wild card.
Let's do the Mandalorian clans for 250.
All right. The ancient emblem of this clan was a stylized shriek hawk, which was eventually adopted by the entire Death Watch faction.
Clan
What?
Vizsla.
Yes.
Good job.
Good job.
Vizsla.
Good job. All right, Jordan, which one would you like next?
Just do Mandalorian for 500.
Okay. This clan was a vassal of House Vizsla, but sided with Clan Saxon during the Imperial era. They were wiped out by the end of the Galactic Civil War, with one notable exception. Go ahead, Sean.
I guess this is Clan Ren?
Yes.
Sabine?
Yep.
Sabine's
Yeah,
family?
I don't know why I couldn't think about that.
Yeah, so great job. Great job. Okay, Sean,
Let's close out Mandalorians for the last one.
This clan is composed of only 2 members, and its signet was bestowed... Go ahead, Sean.
This is, I guess, if that's how they're named, Clan Jaren?
Mm-mm.
What's their clan name called?
Like, you have the clan, but that's not
I
what
know,
it's called.
I don't know what they were actually called.
Think about what their symbol was.
What? Why are you giving him a hint?
Their signet was bestowed on them by the armorer of the tribe. So their signet is kind of what their name.
Yeah,
after.
I remember it now.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's called, but I do remember it. I think
I don't remember exactly.
What's the mud something? What?
Clan
Mudhorn?
Mudhorn. Yeah.
Why are they the only ones that their name is their symbol instead of his name?
That's a good point.
Everyone else, the clan's name is the clan. That's strange.
I forgot that it was called a Mudhorn. But I also wasn't thinking about a creature. I was thinking about their name.
All right, so we'll go ahead and cut it off here. We've got Jordan at 850 credits, and we've got Sean at
That's my favorite number.
2,800.
Nice, dude. You're kicking me.
Wow.
Yeah. So for Final Jeopardy, you can wager up to 100% of your points.
Yeah.
You got everybody
What did he have?
850.
Do keep in mind that I've wagered 100% every time.
I'm gonna
I beat
wager 2,000 points.
Okay.
What'd you have?
I don't remember.
2,800.
So if I lose,
I still beat you.
Yeah.
right?
You really don't want to lose, do
I
you?
don't know. I haven't won a game.
You want to keep it up.
I haven't won one
I've
game.
wagered every single
I
time we've
know.
done 100%.
I know. You've beat me legitimately every time.
All right, so for Final Jeopardy, so this is going to be another one. You guys send me your answers, so no buzzing in. So this is the name of Padme's handmaiden, who was played by actress Keira Knightley. In the canon Darth Vader comic book series, she joins Darth Vader, knowing his identity as Anakin Skywalker and wanting to test whether there was still good in him, as Padme had claimed. So what was the name of this handmaiden? Another famous female. The storyline made me want to read the Darth Vader comics. I was like skimming through it in Wikipedia.
The
and I
new
was
ones are awesome. They have
ooh.
like it's another like young female lead, but Dr. Afro or whatever, Afra, and she's got like robot companion and she leads Vader all over the place. It's a pretty cool one.
Mm.
But Dark Horse has a lot of cool Darth Vader comic.
This one was written by Marvel, I believe. The Darth Vader
Horse
ones.
does all the Marvel stuff.
Oh, okay.
I know who this is, and I at one point knew her name, but I'll be frank and let you know I don't know.
Okay.
So,
well, make a guess, and I guess we can say if
guess.
somebody's close, we can, kind of determine.
I might be mistaken, but I don't think they say the name in the movie.
No, but the only reason I know it is because it's Keira Knightley.
Yeah, it kind of seems like she was popularized after the fact.
My answer is very silly, so.
Oh, okay. So Sean's guess was Kate. As you can imagine, not a real good Star Warsy name.
What?
And Jordan actually got it correct. Her name is Sabe.
Yeah, Sabe's the one that died.
Mm-hmm.
No, Corday died.
Corday died. Yeah, you're right.
You had Corday, Sabe, and Sache.
Yeah. That's right. It's Sabe with the little thing above the E.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the one.
That's why I couldn't remember, because Sabe and Sache were the two of the ones that were with Padme in Episode 1. But Sache was a little bit taller one. Sabe was her
actual
double, and then Corday became her double between Episode 1 and 2.
Congratulations, that was well earned. I did know the name. I couldn't think of it, so I just lied with Kate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great, dude. Nice work.
Yeah, awesome. I don't think anyone has ever gotten Final Jeopardy or the final round.
Dead on?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Congratulations, sir.
Awesome job.
Serious.
Thanks for helping us guide us through that. And
Of course.
we can take another quick break here, and then we'll jump back into the last part. All right, thanks for joining us back. We are into the last section of the podcast now. We're going to be doing the standard arena that we always close it out with, as though we are fighting with a team drafted in our Geonosian Arena. So this week, the theme is Jedi Masters. So this one will be pretty cool. I will admit, I actually had to look up a couple people to make sure that they were masters and not like knights, because that is one thing that Star Wars doesn't really just tell you. You don't have somebody who's like, I don't know, a different color suit or something, and you're like, oh, that guy's a higher rank. But everybody was what I thought they were when I looked them up.
Right.
But I was wanting to make sure. But yeah, as is always tradition, Mr. Jordan, why don't you roll us a chance cube and see who's going to go first here. Declare color, and we'll get going.
You ready?
I'm ready for you.
Oh, I didn't declare color.
You're always blue, though, aren't you? I'll count it unless you wanted to change.
No, I'll do it again.
All right.
I will call blue this time.
All right.
It's red, buddy.
Wow. Is that fortunate?
I need to look up something really quick, because now you're making me...
Oh, you don't know if somebody's... Oh, well, I mean, we can discuss it when you get there if you want.
Oh, that's fine.
I mean, I'm also kind of loose on it. I don't really care. I guess it's probably a little bit less in your favor if they're not a master, and you accidentally picked a knight or something. But if you think about it, like, Anakin obviously was never a master, but he still had a Padawan. So you can't just say, because somebody was training somebody else, they're a master. Doesn't mean that they reached the rank of master.
Right.
So I was like, oh, wait a minute. But cool. Well, I never get the first overall pick. This is exciting. I think if we are doing a draft of Jedi Masters, I have to. I'm wearing
I just
wearing
realized
it on my
that you're
shirt.
wearing it, yeah.
It's got to be Yoda,
Okay,
man.
good
How
job.
can it not be Yoda for the first overall pick?
Yeah.
He is so iconic to what Star Wars is. He's everything somebody weird like me loves. He's stupid, he's quirky, he's ridiculous, he's funny.
Yeah.
But also deep down, he's one of the best in all of the categories he's in.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like not super great at lightsaber combat, but we saw him hold his own against people who were really skilled.
Yeah.
Dooku's known as a duelist, and he did really good against Dooku until Dooku had to pull some shenanigans to make him save other people.
Right.
So, like, actually, for somebody who's supposed to not be like a phenomenal duelist, he's great still. So, like, him at his weakest is still stronger than a lot of other people at their peak.
Yeah.
So, I think he would be phenomenal to have in a draft. You're not going to beat him with force power, with strategies, with wisdom. I don't know. I think he's great. So, I'm
Good
picking
choice.
Yoda.
Good choice, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
So with that, I'm going to go with another one of my just a favorite. I love all the Jedi, so I say favorites, but we're going to go with Qui-Gon Jinn.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Qui-Gon is
a wise Jedi, a different Jedi.
Very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. So
we call him Gray Jedi because he's somebody who was really ahead of his time in thinking that like maybe all of the thoughts of the Jedi Council were not exactly great.
Yeah.
Like he seemed to care about attachments a little bit. He seemed to care about people a little bit. We've talked.
He had just a different outlook when he came to the Force as well.
Yeah.
So
he taught a lot about the living Force to his Padawans and stuff, and we've talked at length about how he would have been the father figure Anakin needed, like
to keep him in the light.
Yeah, Qui-Gon
Agreed.
is such an interesting individual.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a great choice that I'm not going to knock in the slightest. I will say for my next pick then, I'm going to. I don't know why when I first was writing down like Jedi that I like for this draft, before I guess just like researching or whatever, preparing. This was not somebody that I thought of immediately. But then when I did think of them, I thought they were like potential first overall pick. And I don't know why I didn't think of them immediately, but Luke, just Luke. Because like when we think of Luke, we think of him early as farm boy Luke and stuff in the movies.
Yeah.
But like towards the tail end there, he becomes a master,
Yeah.
and he's one of the greatest Jedi
Yeah.
ever, and he's one of the strongest in the Force of all time. So Luke would be a phenomenal person
I
if you're
agree.
getting him at the like later stages where he
Yeah.
is a master.
Yeah.
Luke's hard
That's
to
a
beat.
good one too. Yeah.
I would think like basically him in Mandalorian where he's cutting up all them robots and stuff
Yeah.
like crazy fast, the Dark Troopers.
That's tough.
That's
Good
a guy
reflection
right
of his father too.
So he was.
They had two good hallway scenes from both. So.
But only one of them was a master.
The other one just killed all the masters.
Poor Anakin.
Am I a master now? The one of them's like, no.
No, doesn't count.
Still doesn't count. Well, good one. Okay. Once again, gonna pick another one of my big favorites is Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So,
I love Obi.
Yeah. Once again, he's a split between Qui-Gon and a regular Jedi Master, I would say. He's still compassionate, but he's tries to be very by the correct rule.
Right.
But at the same time, like I said, he stays compassionate. I mean, he fell in love with Satine. When she died, it killed him.
Yeah.
Anakin, same thing. He stayed more attached to his feelings than I feel like that.
Most that we saw.
It would have been portrayed, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think so too. He was really cool. Getting to see all of the different strengths he's had.
Yeah.
And now that we've seen the Kenobi show, and you got to see like a little bit more of the after effects too, and that like heart wrenching battle where he fights his brother again, Anakin, at that point.
His helmet and everything.
And you can see a little bit of Anakin coming through. That's pretty heavy.
It's tough.
Yeah. So I think he's really, really cool. He's one of the like huge fan favorites for a reason.
Oh yeah,
I think
I agree.
He's really good.
Yeah.
In just terms of straight combat, he was really, really good too.
Yeah.
He was top notch.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. He's there with Anakin all the time, and he was supposed to be like one of the best bladesmiths. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But one of the quotes that I like a whole lot about Obi-Wan is actually going to tie into my next pick as well. But you remember what Anakin said to Padme when he was describing Obi-Wan? He said he's as wise as Master Yoda and as powerful as Master Windu.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Mace Windu. I think Mace Windu for my third pick. So I would say Mace Windu's pretty amazing. I love him. I think he's very strong.
Took him right out of there.
I think you wanted him next.
I did.
I think my autocorrect changed it to Mace Windy, but that's not who I want.
That's his brother.
I don't want Mace Windy. I don't want Mace Windy.
Mace Windy has long hair.
If you go like full, Mace Windy.
It's just blowing constantly. It could be no wind in the air, and his hair is just like.
But it's really long. It's blonde. Right. He never wears a shirt,
it's like
and his
Fabio.
lightsaber's pink.
It's just like Fabio.
It's Fabio. Mace Fabio Windy. That's what they call him, Master Fabio.
Always had his shirt unbuttoned.
With the deep V.
That's awesome.
I'm getting off track. That was great.
All right.
The real quick, just something to note about him is one of the really interesting things is one of the very few people we've ever known to be able to handle the lightsaber form of combat that he used was called Vapad, and it was like extremely aggressive, and you had to be like sort of in tune with the dark side in order to be able to use it.
Yeah.
And so everyone else that we know of in Legends that used it as a Jedi fell away, and Mace is the only one who was strong enough to actually be able to use this crazy aggressive lightsaber fighting style and also still be really good.
Yeah.
And he was so strong that like during the events of after Phantom Menace, all that, like the council that we saw, Yoda stepped down to make him the Grand Master during that time period because he respected Mace that much. So I think Mace is really cool.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I like him a lot. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Cool.
So now that'll jump up to your third pick there, bud.
So mine is going to be Plo Koon. Another good Jedi, strong. One of the only Jedi to beat Yoda in a. I don't know if it's canon or not. I don't remember if they kept it canon or if they put it to Legends, but one of the only Jedi to supposedly be able to beat Yoda in saber combat.
Right.
Once again, he's a very tough and he's very like battle coordinated and he's very very mindful of what is happening and he's very strategic as well. Once again, he does have the compassion towards his clones, which a lot of Jedi do, but he was more closer to his clones than I feel like. Well, besides Anakin and Rex, but he was out of the vast majority of the Jedi, he was very close to his clones. He had the wolf pack insignia on his shoulder,
right?
You know, on his on the his armor
on his
plate,
pauldron or whatever. Yeah.
You know, he kept that on there. I mean, he was very very gung ho for his boys. You know.
Yeah. He's a very cool looking race and all that. He's got that little breather on and everything, which is cool. He's definitely one of my all-time favorites too. I think that's an awesome choice. And if I'm not mistaken, he was supposed to be like the ultimate lightsaber duelist. Like he was like in the academy or whatever. He was known as being like the guy, which is interesting because they chose to kill him off with Order 66 while he was piloting in his thing. And I'm like that. At first glance, that might seem kind of dumb, but at a second glance, you're like, oh well, yeah, that's the only way to kill him.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Could you imagine the fight between him and the clones? Like those clones would just be attacking him. He's like. Yeah. Good luck.
He's probably gonna survive that. Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah. That'd be wild.
I agree.
I think that's a great choice, especially in this battle situation.
Yeah.
I love the contrast between how much of a beast he was supposed to be with the blade and how kind and gentle he is
as a person.
Like his personality, and everybody ends up really liking Ahsoka, and you get to see her upbringing and all that, and then when you get to see Plo Koon's connection with her and how he brought her in when she was a baby and all that. That was really cool to me. So I really like everything about Plo Koon. So that was an excellent choice.
Thank you.
I am going to go with my favorite. I don't know if he'll last any longer, but my all-time favorite Jedi is Quinlan Vos for my next choice.
He's up there spider monkeying around and everything.
Quinlan's crazy, man. He's got so many interesting things to me about him, and he's somebody who has a very unique capability that when it came out, he was the only person that we ever knew that had it. Nowadays, a little bit more people seem like they're starting to do it, but it's a force ability that they call psychometry. I don't know if that's how you say it. I think it is.
Okay.
But basically, he has the ability to see the history of objects he touches through the Force. So if he picks something up, he can kind of see what has happened with that item and whatever. So the Jedi Council often sent him on solo missions, reconnaissance type things, tracker type things, and he was phenomenal at that. Now, since then, we've now gotten quite a few other things like Cal Kestis.
Right.
He can see these Force echoes that are very reminiscent of this ability, but they don't actually say in the games that that's the same power, but it's displayed in a pretty similar way. And even Rey in the movies, when she picked up Luke's lightsaber, she saw like him and Vader fighting, like she saw the whole thing. So I guess she sort of has that too. Now we just saw in Acolyte, Vernestra has the ability to do something
she was seeing
quite
it
similar as well.
Thing,
like you hear what's happening, but it doesn't show you from Vernestra's eyes, so I'm not sure if it's the same thing or not. So it may not be as unique as it was when he was first a thing back in Phantom Menace and stuff, but back then, him being the only one that had that, I always thought made him really, really cool, and that he didn't have a trainee. I had to actually look up and see if he was a master or not, because he didn't have a Padawan that I'm ever aware of, and so I thought that was really cool. He also has a whole storyline with Asajj Ventress that I like a whole lot.
Yeah.
So,
no, you like him. You talk about him
one
a
of my
lot,
favorites
so that's pretty cool.
For a couple reasons, but yep. So that'll be my my fourth pick, and then we'll jump back to you, sir.
Mine's gonna be Kit Fisto.
Yeah. What a cool dude.
Just, I mean, looks cool.
He does.
Good dude. Can fight underwater.
Yeah.
That's the coolest part. I mean, there was that entire
arc,
episode.
Yeah.
Was it in the original Clone Wars, the one that I showed you, like the more cartoony one?
Oh.
He fought led an entire clone squadron underwater and was just slicing up all these things. But also in the main Clone Wars, he was also in the battle for the Moncala.
Yeah.
He was down there.
That's what I thought you were going to talk about. Yeah.
He was in both. So it was cool. I just think that's cool because
all
the other Jedi, they have to put these suits on or whatever, and they go scuba diving, and he's like, nah, sploosh, and he just goes right into the water and doesn't have an issue. He's got those finned feet, the webbed feet, so he can swim around. It's just really, it's cool to see just like that, a different race of Jedi to be able to fight anywhere basically and be perfectly okay. Cool. Yeah.
He has some kind of modification that they did to his lightsaber to work underwater.
Yeah.
I guess not everybody has something like that, but I thought that was kind of cool. He's really very standout, bright green, like everybody's gonna know who he is.
He's got the tentacles coming down cool, and all that stuff.
Yeah, very interesting design. I think he's a cool guy for sure. Yeah, that's a good pick. So that jumps back to me for the last pick. I'm not used to having the first go around.
It's weird, isn't it? It's very strange.
So because you've stolen a couple that I wanted in my top 5, I'm having to kind of reach a little bit.
He's digging deep, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not really digging deep because there are a lot of masters.
There is a bunch, yeah.
But I'm gonna go weird here.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go weird. I like going weird for my last one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go for. Because this is an arena draft, we're fighting each other. I'm gonna go for Pong Krell. Pong Krell is the guy who falls to the dark side, but before that, he is a Jedi Master, and he's wild. He's got 4 arms. He's basically like the living version of Grievous.
Well, he's dual wielding double blade lightsabers.
2 double wielded lightsabers. That's insane. So I thought he would be a wild one to have in a combat situation like this arena.
Well, he's strong. He's a brute physically, and then on top of that,
not afraid to use the dark side.
Yeah.
So I thought he might be a little cheaty.
Not really. He's still a master.
He's a Jedi
he
master.
fought the same way as he did when he's in the dark side when he fell. So
yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, what an interesting guy. Was he on your list at all?
No.
No, not on your radar.
Nope.
Good. All right. What's going to be your piece to close out your draft?
One that I like a lot that we've seen recently.
Okay, yeah.
So I was going to pick him, but I'm going to change it, and I'm going to do Jedi Master Count Dooku before he fell to the dark side.
Ooh, okay.
Or just Dooku, but...
Yeah, Dooku...
Poodoo.
Dooku Poodoo. Okay, all right, I like it. That's pretty cool.
It was cool to see him, because we saw him in Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Seeing him... Same thing as Qui-Gon. That's where I feel like Qui-Gon got his style from, because you see him kind of tapping more into his emotions a little bit and being more compassionate to certain people, as well as thinking the Jedi Council is not always right. Same thing as like Qui-Gon did, and that's how we saw that. Well, that's why Qui-Gon was what he was, because this is how he was taught.
Absolutely.
He was also just a beast as well with a lightsaber. He just did the same thing, one-handed combat, and watching him that he trained himself to one single-handed duel.
Right.
You know, and it's effective. It's nice. You always have a free hand. You'd be a little bit quicker trying to do one-hand flick, you know, wrist flicks and stuff like that compared to try to do two-handed like the natural Jedi would.
Right.
You know, it's just cool. And
I
it's
think that's
awesome.
a really
Count
smart
Dooku is
pick.
one of my favorite like Sith.
Yeah.
Um,
the only one whose like eyes don't turn over, that like he's just a normal guy
yeah,
who just has a different viewpoint than the others.
correct.
And that's so interesting. Yeah. How funny that we both for our last pick picked bad guys that were not bad at the time when we picked them.
Yeah. It's cool. I don't know. I think that is kind of funny that we did that. I wasn't expecting you to pick Ponkrell though. That was one that was like really.
How about the tree? Have you ever thought about the tree and like how fun that is? Like if you think about Master Yoda trains Dooku, who trains
right.
Qui-Gon, who trains Obi-Wan,
who trains
Anakin, who trains Ahsoka. I'm like, those are all some pretty wild-minded individuals.
And also
in terms
a
of the
very
rest of
big impact to Star
Wars. Of course, yeah. But like just in terms of how they view the Jedi Code, how they operate themselves, those are all people who are kind of free thinkers. And if they had a different master at any step along that way, things might have been way different.
It would have been different. And that's the thing we talked about. And I mean, this is the same thing as doing Qui-Gon and training Anakin.
I know. It's already big. Yeah.
You know.
But like just, I don't know. I love that. I love that a lot. So it's really curious. Cool. I had a lot of honorable mentions in our draft, but just for the official bit here, the 5 picks, I've got Yoda, I've got Luke, Mace Windu, Quinlan Vos, and Ponkrell.
Yep.
You've got Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, and Dooku. Now, I'm very curious if we have a lot of like crossover on honorable mentions.
I actually don't have that many more listed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you knew
I only
that
have
we
2
weren't
listed,
go.
really. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of had a feeling that which way you wouldn't go, but then again, the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Plo, I was like, or no, sorry, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Mace. I was like, he's probably definitely going to pick those, but I doubt it because we talked, a little bit before. You're like, yeah, I might do some Legends. I don't know. So I was like, he's probably going to dive deep into Legends and pick out some good ones there. So I was like, I'm not going to pick any Legends, but I do have one on there, and I want to see. Was Bastila Shan? Was she a master?
Yeah,
she was,
she
right?
is, yeah,
okay.
She's definitely on my list. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I do
like
have her
a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, she's cool. Now, at the beginning portions of the Knights of the Old Republic game, when she's your companion, she's not a master at that point.
That's what I was curious
But later,
about. I was thinking about
she
that.
becomes a very important master, and she's also someone who has a unique force power that we never see again.
Right.
With the battle meditation, where it's kind of like an aura that while she's meditating, it just boosts everybody else's effectiveness, basically, in like a massive wide area. So in like war times, she was a very sought after piece in war, basically. But yeah, she's definitely on my honorable mentions as well.
Okay,
she's amazing.
Yeah, so I had her, and then I had Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Okay.
That's the Jedi I was talking about that I like.
I know you like him.
No real particular
I'm starting
reason.
to hate
like
him. I'm really starting to hate him. Yeah.
Why? Why?
You want me to tell you why? I'll give you. Give me 2 minutes. I'll give you the soapbox reason as to why Ki-Adi-Mundi is the worst.
All right.
Conehead, as I call him. I hate Conehead. He's making me more mad the more I think about him. If you think back on all the things, right? Well, now we've got him to blame for this stuff in Acolyte, right? Yeah, I'm taking it out on him instead of the writers of Acolyte, where he says that not for a millennia have we, ever seen the Sith or whatever.
The Sith have been extinct for a millennia.
Thank you. So, okay, the reason he's saying that is because Qui-Gon just is standing there in front of him and the rest of the council, and he's like, "Yo, dude, I just fought this Sith," and Ki-Adi-Mundi's like, "I don't believe you."
Well, Yoda They've been there extinct. Now, so now what?
But Yoda didn't say, "No, Qui-Gon, you're a liar."
We don't.
Ki-Adi-Mundi did. Ki-Adi said, "No, they've been extinct. I don't believe you, Qui-Gon." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's stupid." And then if you think back about Ahsoka, when Ahsoka was on trial,
what have I done?
And,
that's true. He
was the biggest proponent to her being the one who didn't do what she did. He was like, I don't want her. Now we go back into Acolyte and we see him where he's in that room. He's already being a little bit of a jerk for no reason. He's just like looking back on them like he's all like,
dude's got 4 wives, bro.
Yeah, I know. And he's probably lied about why he needs that. Is his race even going extinct? You brought that up.
We don't see him.
When we talked about it.
We don't see him at all.
He lives that long. Why is his race going extinct? I think he just lied to the Jedi Council so he could have 4 ladies. That's not a good man. That's a bad man.
All right, you make your point.
All right, good.
All right. Do you know why yours are bad?
You didn't even pick him. I'm not even. I had like every member of the council because I love them all.
Did you really?
I wrote them all down. I like Ayla a lot.
I did have Shakti on mine.
Shakti, I like her a lot.
I didn't have her Ayla Secura on mine, but I was gonna pick it. Like it was in my mind the entire time we're talking.
Right.
Because I was like maybe, but then I was like, no, I'm just gonna go do.
I figured you'd probably have Luminara and Ayla on your list. But other than those, the only other one that I really like a lot that I thought I'd mention, obviously we have people from this Acolyte show that we didn't even put on our list, like Vernestra. She's pretty interesting.
Vernestra's
we just
cool.
don't know enough about
That's
her.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I don't know enough about her, Sol and Dara.
But Ram Koda.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's really, really cool.
That was the blind one from Force Unleashed.
And he was Starkiller's guide and helper and all
Yeah.
that. I thought, interestingly, that he was the inspiration for Kanan when Star Wars Rebels came out, because everything with Starkiller is all legends and not canon. But visually, he looks a lot like what Kanan looked to me. So when I first saw Kanan as this Jedi that was not even really knighted yet, and he has just survived this long, and he's rough and tumble. He's a lot like Rom.
And well, then he even got blinded.
He gets blinded, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's 100% Rom.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was intentional in any way whatsoever, or if it's just a good idea for a character that both Dave Filoni and the writers of Force Unleashed had. But he seems like direct inspiration from Rom.
Well, don't forget you had
he even had the little ponytail thing going on with his hair, the same exact style. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Spit it out. Who are you thinking?
Not Matt Lanter.
Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer.
Yeah.
Was Starkiller, and him and oh my goodness, names are just gone. The writer for Clone Wars.
Dave Filoni.
Okay. They were super close.
Yeah, Witwer
Dave
and Filoni.
Went to him a lot about like Maul and Palpatine, all this stuff, blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah.
Yeah.
So like.
Right.
It would kind of like I feel like there would be something to where
they probably looked at previous works and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
Like Filoni's definitely aware of him. Yeah, without a doubt.
So.
Yeah, I always thought that was an interesting little nugget that in my mind they were almost the same character, and then later you see him get blinded, and I'm like, no, stinking way. He's Rom.
He even had the wrap around his eyes instead of like wearing the thing, just like Rom.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, that's so funny to me.
I always forget about I don't forget about Coda, but I do when it comes to like certain like things like this.
Right.
But like not long ago, we were at your house one time, and I was like, the Jedi that was blind in the Force Unleashed. What was his name? I don't remember what we were talking about, but it was something about I don't remember. But then I think you were the one who were like, "Oh, you're talking about Ram Koda." I was like, "Yes," but I don't remember what we were talking about. But that's funny that you bring it up. Like I said, I never think about it until it's either like after time to think about it or just something super random.
Right.
And then I'm like, "Oh, hey," but that's a really good choice. That would have been really cool one to put on your list.
I almost did, but I thought Pong might be better to put at the last
Pong's
bit.
Tough, dude.
Yeah, that's a cool draft.
Yeah, all right. Is that the last honorable mention you got? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think I got anybody else really worth it.
Okay. All right. Well, that works then. Well, good job. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in for this episode of Cantina Chat Podcast. Hop over to Facebook, give us a like, check us out, and keep an eye out for the poll for this arena when it comes out. And as always, may the laughs be with you.
Thanks. Goodbye.